The Cedric Maxwell podcast is brought to you by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network.
All right, the Celtics offseason continues here on the Cedric Maxwell podcast. I am Josue Pavone. He is my co-host, Cedric Maxwell, and we got a special guest in this episode, man. I gotta get A. Sherrod Blakely's take on what's been going on this offseason. Bleacher Report's A. Sherrod Blakely, co-host of the A-List podcast. What's going on, Sherrod? How's the offseason so far?
Not long enough. Kind of like the Celtics season. Not long enough. How's that?
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. I mean, look, the Celtics fans are nervous. They got a couple of reasons to be. We're still waiting for what was this? Exactly 3 weeks. 3 weeks it's been since free agency started, and Jaylen Brown still hasn't signed that extension. So I gotta get your take on that and what's been going on across the NBA. Of course, I want to get your 2 cents on this Draymond situation. Max, I'm looking at you. That's gonna be. I mean, look. We'll cross that bridge later on in this episode. But also, are the Celtics done? We talked about that last episode, Sherrod. I want to hear your take on that. But like I said off the top, man, let's start with Jaylen Brown. What's the holdup in your opinion here? I mean, the report, the fact that he's not in the country right now, does that worry you? It's worrying Celtics fans. I tell you that much. As that max deal is still on the table, and he just went across the ocean, and we're not quite sure when these talks are going to resume.
Yeah, my only concern is just that it's just not done. I'm not worried that it won't get done. It's just not done now, and that gives me a little bit of concern. But listen, Jaylen is from Marietta, Georgia, and if you've ever been through Marietta, Georgia, you will understand that Jaylen is smart enough to know that this isn't just like generational wealth. This is generational wealth for your kids, okay? And Jaylen knows that this is one of those once-in-a-lifetime opportunities where you got to nail this thing right. And if the Celtics just said, Jaylen, here's $304 million, we're going to guarantee every cent that thing will get done. But they're going to, more likely than not, they're going to be certain mile markers that he's going to have to meet in order to get all that money. So they still got to figure out what that's going to look like. It's going to get done, but it's a matter of how much money is going to be guaranteed. What are some of the stipulations in this deal that Jaylen is going to have to meet incentives to get all of that money or most of it? Those are the things that Jaylen and his camp have to work out. But I don't think Jaylen is pressed about it because at the end of the day, guess what? He's freaking rich. Other than the person that hit the Powerball, I think that's probably one of the few people who will be happier with the brick that they're getting than Jaylen Brown. He's going to be all right. I am not worried about Jaylen. I ain't worried about the Celtics. It's going to get done. It's just a matter of when, not if.
Well,
with that type of money.
Here's the thing I believe. The contracts are always guaranteed, as we know in the NBA. It's not that funny money when I used to play back in the day where they give you $200,000. You have a $400,000 deal and they be paying you $200,000 and give it to you 20 years later. So, but why am I leaving the country? What obligation? What do I need? What is so pressing overseas?
I'll tell you
$300 million here.
Because they were all in Vegas, Sherrod.
If there's somebody who's dying, I ain't that pressed. I'm sitting right there. Matter of fact, you know where I'm sitting at? I am sitting right in front of the office. Every time it opens, I am sitting there when the door opens. That's where I'm at. I'm not going there.
Max would be like, let me mess around before they change their mind. Let's get this thing done now.
The overseas deal, though, that was something that was planned out well in advance, and that's it's almost like a training camp for the players. That's what he's going to be doing overseas, and I think it's Spain. So
cancel that shit.
This is what I would have done, though. But to your point, Max, I would have taken care of it in Vegas. That's when it should have been taken care of.
Hold on a minute. Cancel that. You might get hurt while you're over there. Cancel it.
That's why I would have done it in Vegas.
Why?
I would have taken care of it in Vegas.
Don't anything. I don't care what. ML Carr told me a thing one time when I was a free agent. He said, anything you're doing other than eating a donut during the summer, cancel it. Wait until you sign that contract. And then that's how I feel with him. It's like, dude, why you said you're going to a training camp? A training camp? And you got
ML can't be mentioned. Let's get it going.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed, ML Carr.
Yes, there it is.
if I got $300 million, I am dead red right now of staying here in Boston until that sucker is signed. And that's just me. But it could be any other player I know that you look at, as you're saying, generational wealth that's going to put you over the top. And this isn't your last contract.
Right.
And but this is a big enough one that your family's family and anything you get after that, essentially is gravy. I can't believe he's going to be the highest paid player in the NBA. What makes me think he can do anything else in any city, any country, other than stay here and get that deal made and get it done? You're talking about incentives and what could make you get $300 million, or what could make?
I'm just trying to get in ahead of the player. Max, listen, you and me right here. Because soon as listen, the minute that I became second team All-NBA and knew I was eligible for the supermax, I'm calling my agent and say, what time can I officially sign this deal? You need to make sure that now 5 minutes passes after the time I can sign that deal, it's going to get done. I don't care what. Make it happen. I'm not even getting 5 minutes, bro. I am signing as soon as I'm looking at the clock. It's 3.
12 o'clock.
Matt could be looking at like a shot clock. 3, 2, 1.
Wait a minute. Do I need to sign this shit in blood? Hold on. Let me get my knife here. Let's do like the Indians did in the Cowboys movies back in the day. I'm cutting my
shake hands.
I'm scraping this thing. I just don't know what. Again, this is and obviously his business, but I don't see anything that pressing for me to say I'm going to be in another country until I finish with this $300 million deal. Nothing could be that pressing unless it's somebody's health. That's the only thing I can see. That's it. I'm not going anyplace else.
I would have thought it would have done in Vegas. That's where I thought it would get done.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's what we all thought, right? And then to get the report that things are being put on, there's a pause. I mean, that's obviously going to worry Celtics fans. But let me ask you this, Sherrod: could it be a player option thing? I mean, obviously, there's another guy on the team that's going to get it back too in about a year, right? I mean, is he trying to say, is this one of those scenarios where, if again, I'm guessing here, right? I'm trying to get into Jaylen's mind right now, and the way I see it is, in a couple of years, if they don't win a championship and they decide there's a shakeup, is it going to be me? Like, if I'm Jaylen, I'm probably going to think about that. So maybe it's a security thing. Is he trying to protect himself on the back end of this deal with that player option, making sure that he's not the one that, he's the one that can control his future? Could that be it?
That's part of it, because at the end of the day, I mean, we're looking at the bottom line, which is a $300 and some change $1 million brick. But Jaylen is, and Jaylen, again, he has a tendency to kind of think these things through a little bit further down the road than most of us, because I see a $300 million brick. He sees something that's a little bit different than a $300 million brick.
Well, Sherrod, he saw his teammate get traded a few weeks ago, right? I mean,
and again, I think Jaylen is looking at this as, you know what? Yeah, they got all the bread for me, but this is still a negotiation. They're not just going to give me that money and call it a day. I have to negotiate, and I think you got to think about trade kickers. You got to think about no trade veto rights. You got to look at that 5th-year option. Right. There's a lot of things that I know Jaylen has given some thought to that, for the rest of us, we're looking at him like, bro, seriously?
Let me tell you what.
You hesitate to pick up a $300 million check? I said, I'll be like, son, let me pick that up for you, sis. I will gladly take that.
Let me tell both you guys something right now. Both y'all got me up out here. The way y'all talk. Because first of all, the money goes with you.
We're trying to get in Jaylen's head.
Like Marcus Smart's contract, when he got traded, that money I believe that money went with him. If somebody, and I understand what you're saying, but teams do that. We look at Tyler Hero, and this is the thing I think he might be looking at, is the fact that Tyler Hero signed a long-term deal with the Miami Heat. But once you sign it, you're there for that first year. After that, all bets are off. Is he concerned about leaving? Or the team could use him as trade bait later on if they don't win it? But I wouldn't. But again, for me, when I start hearing that he's going to be the highest paid player in the history of the NBA, and the way money is being spent now, that there's nothing that's going to keep me from doing that. There's somebody who watched my podcast called me up the other day and said, "Damn, I can't believe what you said, man. You said you talked about I would not leave until that deal was done." I said, "You damn Skippy. I'd be sitting right. I'd be sitting right in there right now."
Damn Skippy.
As you said, as you look at it, like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this? What time?
Max is just like, whenever y'all ready, I'm here.
All right, well, let me ask Sherrod a question that I asked you last episode, and that is, okay, let's say hypothetically it happens. They come to an agreement. He signs for max money. Everything is great. All Celtics fans are excited. Do you realistically see him playing out that entire contract in Boston?
If they win a chip next year, yeah, because the chip, to me, everything's come down to next year winning a championship. And I think that's part of Jaylen's reluctance to just sign this deal. He has to figure out, how can I secure myself this brick and an opportunity to be on a great team without compromising anything, or minimizing the compromise that he's going to have to make. And if they win a chip, then he absolutely, in my mind, will finish his career as a Celtic unless he forces a trade and pulls the James Harden, the Bradley Beal, the Chris Paul, and just say, y'all need to get me out of here. Which
that's what I think is going to happen.
That's in his nature. And those guys did that on losing situations. He's been playing. He's been competing at a high level ever since he got drafted.
Well, so let me knock on the door. You guys hear me knocking? Hey, Sherrod,
who is it?
You are my boy. But what the hell is he compromising? I mean, what?
See, this is why I wanted to have this conversation.
Max,
go ahead.
Max, you've been around Jaylen long enough to know that he is a different kind of brother, and I say that in a respectful and manner. He does not necessarily look at things the way I think a lot of young folks do. I mean, if you tell somebody who's a really good basketball player, you're gonna get $304 million for 4 or 5 years, maybe 4, maybe 5, maybe we don't know that yet. What you gonna do? You and me? Where do I sign? Jaylen, let me think about this. Let me think about how I want this to go. That's just how he is. And I respect him for that, because he's being authentically who he is. It just ain't me. I mean, for me, listen, I was listening to another podcast. Jeff Teague has a podcast. And the question was raised, which would you want to be? Have a max contract or win a championship? And he kept it 100. Max contract. That's the kind of player that if you put that kind of money in front of him, he's not reaching for the phone to call his agent to see what we can negotiate. He's reaching for the damn pen, and he's looking for the damn paper to sign. That's how most of us are. But Jaylen, he thinks about this stuff more than most.
Here's the beauty of the NBA now, gentlemen. And I know some of our listeners don't know this, but essentially right now, Jaylen doesn't even need an agent. He doesn't need an attorney, because what happens is once the team gives you this contract, the NBA looks over the contract to see if you're protected and to see does it follow all the guidelines. So that's why over these years, we've seen all these agents who've made all this money. No need even having these guys. Now, I'm not trying to kick at the agents. They do a great job of what they do. But when it comes to negotiating a contract in the NBA now, that's minimal. Just like you look at the players when they sign the rookie contracts. Those contracts don't have to be negotiated anymore because the NBA already slotted a position for you. If you're the number 1 pick, you know how much money you're going to make for the next 3 years. You're number 2, you know how much money. And it goes down the line like that. With the supermax players and all these deals, and this is one thing I think the NBA really got right, was when you looked at players initially when they were coming to the league, and it was Robinson, Big Dog Robinson was coming in the league, and he was making more money than a lot of veteran players, and the veteran players got pissed off, and they said he
was better than them.
Yeah, so they said, no, we can't have it like this. The NBA got it right in the fact that when you come to the league, you make a certain amount of money, and if you play well enough, then we'll get you to the next level. And I happen to like that, the way it's going. I only thing I'm pissed off about, gentlemen, is I was born too damn soon. Because the way and I love both you guys, but I'd be damn if I'd be talking to either one of you guys right now.
No.
Yeah, that's 100. You keep it 100.
Max would be an 8-figure baller right now.
Yeah.
You could be like, are we seriously having a conversation?
He'd be like, I'm sorry, fellas. You guys are just way too far from my tax bracket. I can't be doing this podcast.
Listen, I got the Maybach pulling up in a minute, so y'all got like 10 seconds to and I'm out.
No, I don't believe it, Mac. The money wouldn't change you, man. I don't think so.
Okay, bro. Well,
yeah,
maybe not in that way.
I tell you what, we'll never know. How about that? So,
oh, we do know though.
Then again, though, Sherrod, if I hit that Powerball thing, you guys will find out.
If I would have hit the last one, I wouldn't be here talking to y'all. I'm like, Josue, this will be the last communication you will get from this number.
Well, you know what? You might.
You'll find out later. You'll find out why later.
From me. No, you would hear from me, but it would sure be some palm trees and some guys with drinks and women in bikinis.
The wind all into the phone.
Yeah, that would be it. So, dude, come on, let's get to another subject because this one's about to get me pissed off the way you guys.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. What Sherrod got right now.
This is what you see me if I hit that Powerball right there.
There you
go. Wow. That brother got it right. Only thing that was wrong with that scene was the fact you didn't have the guys doing like this and bringing me another drink. That was
right.
Wrong.
That's the sequel.
It had to be some women with bikinis running behind me someplace in the background. And I wouldn't be doing like Paul Pierce. Yeah, girl, come on, make this money, girl. Come on, get this loot, girl. Come on. Nah, I'm good.
Monica?
Yeah.
Anyways, look, I just want to real quick. One last thing, though. I don't think hypothetically that he would ask for a trade in 2 years, but at some point in that contract, if they don't win a championship, Sherrod, you hit it. That's exactly what it is. If there's no dynasty here, I mean, I really do see Jaylen see himself as a number one elsewhere if things don't go the way they're supposed to the next couple of years. But anyways, so Celtics fans are worried about that.
Take your first bet at Betting MLB on FanDuel and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets, up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200. You can spend betting everything from the money line to over-under to who you think is going to hit the first home run. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/Boston to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/Boston. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball.
But one thing that they're very excited about is this video that just came out this week of Robert Williams working out in the gym. And man, what Max, he's putting some work in that gym. He's got the moves down. He's putting the ball on the floor. He's not just catching alley-oops,
I made a great point of saying, do you see anybody over 6'5" in that gym? Do you see that?
I'm not
come on.
No, he's right about that. In the fact that
but look, I'm just happy to see him in the gym, and it's mid-July. He's in the gym. This isn't a team event.
Absolutely, that is a great thing. Now, what I want to see, does that go over to game conditions?
Right.
Because sometimes you revert right back to the norm. Are you going to put in enough work where you play with legitimate NBA players and you have to make that move? Because what we saw was him coming off the picks, very slowly. I still like it, spotting up and knocking down the jump shots. I like that. That was good. But I want to see him in game conditions doing the same thing. Because we've seen a million guys over the years be able to knock down shots in practice and do this and do that. And the big lights come on and you got players playing against you. And all of a sudden, all that stuff that you practice on, that stuff is going out the window. I do appreciate him doing that. That's a great opportunity. Now, make sure that goes into the game, because one play I saw in that highlight you showed me with him pick and roll, how many times do we see him catch the basketball right there at the dotted line. Instead of going in and shooting a little shot, we saw him kick the ball out to the corner.
To the corner, yeah.
Him and Al, like you said, drive me completely crazy. So if he's working on that and he's able to utilize that in a game, that's going to be a real good thing for the Celtics.
Yeah, but again, there was nobody in that damn gym other than Rob that was taller than me. And I'm a little on the north side of 6 feet. I mean, he looked like a giant in the land of not so big people. Put it that way. But to Max's point, though, I mean, I wish I saw this 2 years ago, though, to be honest with you. Because if I saw this 2 years ago, I'd be thinking like, damn, just imagine how good he'd be in 2 years if he's starting to put in this work now. At this point in his career, it's like, shouldn't you been already doing this by now? And that's kind of how I feel about Rob. I want to see, are you going to be able to do this when you matched it with Bam Adebayo? And Al says that screen for you. Are you going to raise up when you get switched out on if you got like Tyler Hero guarding you? Are you going to raise up on him? Or will you bully ball him like you should when you get a matchup like that? How are you going to take advantage of the things that you are talented and gifted to do? That's the thing that bothers me more than anything else about Rob. There's so many things that he is physically gifted, capable of doing, and has opportunities to do them. But rather than do that, he kick it into the corner to Grant Williams, or he swing it back over to Jason Tatum, or he just, he does anything and everything but do what all of us know that he can do, which is play bully ball. You 6'9", and you got some meat on your bones now. If you get you a little 6'1", 6'2" guard, put his ass under the rim. Put his ass under the rim.
Yeah, I feel like the year that they went to the finals, the Ime season, if you will, I feel like it went from, okay, we're developing Rob to, okay, he's healthy, he's out there, he's getting a bunch of blocks, he's catching alley-oops, he's a finished product. And I don't understand why that was always the case. I mean, yeah, I get it. The injury is always a concern. You always want him to be healthy, but I feel like the development was kind of stopped last season. It was sort of like he's a finished product. I'm like, well, wait a minute, this guy is still young. He's obviously still got a ceiling above him, and the Celtics were just happy with the fact that he was healthy last year.
They put everybody in that load management program. I mean, damn near half the team. I'm more Al, Rob, Brogdon. Damn.
It stunted his growth. I mean, obviously he's still on the younger side for sure.
You guys are so right when it comes to that, because there's a point I did understand, and it did work for the Celtics that they got as far as they did by managing certain guys. But when you have younger players, as you're around for a while, Sherrod, you saw this in most cities, young players want to play. They want to be on the floor. They don't want to have their minutes limited. They want to be every minute that can be. When you saw Chauncey early on, when you saw Rip early on, when you saw Paul Pierce early on, those guys were logging huge minutes, and it helped their development down the line.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it really helped their development. Did we lose Sherrod then?
Yeah, I think we did for a second.
Yeah.
He'll come back soon.
Yeah, but that thing, it definitely has where you look at your game and now you can have to, what are you talking about? Because that's your guy, Josue, Draymond. Tell me what the hell is going on.
Oh man, yeah.
I've been hearing this thing about Chris Paul and him and Chris Paul going back and forth, but
I was saving So, okay, well, yeah, I want to save the best for last. We'll get Sherrod back on here to weigh in because he knows about it too. But pretty much what happened was he went on a podcast and just opened a brand new can of worms, if you will, right? He went out and talked about the Jordan Poole incident, and he's pretty much trying to justify it and saying that, look, I don't just hit people in the moment like that. Like, this thing was built up to that moment. And he said, and I quote, "I don't just hit people. Dialogue happens over the course of time," end quote. And then Jordan Poole's father responded to that quote on Twitter saying, look, you pretty much try to avoid us, in the family room. You didn't even apologize to my wife and I for what you did, yada, yada, yada. He responds to that with saying pretty much that he had been spending time in the family room and that, like, if you want to meet me, we can meet up anywhere. Or excuse me, that's what the father said. So a lot of people are saying, man,
wait a minute.
What's the Draymond right now?
The father was looking for a response. An
apology, I guess, for hitting his son.
I'm not apologizing to the damn father because I hit his son. Now this time I'm with Draymond. That man, he ain't part of nothing that I know about. I gotta walk up to him and say, "Excuse me, Mr. Poole, but I'm sorry for punching your son." What the hell?
Right. He's a grown man, right?
He's a grown ass man. He played basketball. I mean, it ain't like he was a kid or something. It happened, but I'm not apologizing. I'm not going out of my way going, yo, I think I need to wait. Next what's apology to his wife, to his girlfriend? I mean, who else are you apologizing to?
Where does it stop, right? Yeah.
He apologized. He apologized to his teammates. He apologized to Jordan Poole. He apologized for his whatever he did. But you know what? So far as the family is concerned, nah, I can't get with that one. I'm good.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too. So as for the Steph Curry, as for the Chris Paul thing, he was pretty much saying, look, I've said in the past that I don't like this guy. I have a problem with him. Just because he's on this team doesn't mean that all of a sudden I'm going to like him. We're going to have a conversation, and I know that he's a grown man, and pretty much saying that he's looking forward to that conversation. He's sure that's going to go well. The grown man comment people are taking in the sense of, oh, so he's more grown than Poole. He's more mature than Poole because clearly these two haven't mended fences, even though after an entire season last year where it fractured their relationship to a point of no repair. And people are saying, well, here comes Draymond again, trying to cause trouble, trying to stir trouble, and the season hasn't even started yet.
No, I don't say that. I think that he's right. Chris Paul is a different animal. Chris Paul's been in the league.
I think that's what he meant by that. Yeah.
He's been in the league how long now? Jordan Poole's a young player trying to get his bag. He ended up getting his bag. Then you move on from there. Chris Paul's already has his bag. He is a player, president of Player Association. He's been around for that. He's been to multiple teams. The only thing that dude hasn't done is he has not won a championship. And I think that's the thing that really probably haunts him more than anything else. He hasn't won.
Are you surprised by this? Were you surprised that he's going to Golden State and that he's embracing this opportunity?
No, because I think I looked at a lot of players in late in their careers and they wanted to win championships. Give you an example. Pete Maravich, who had been in the league a long time, came to the Boston Celtics trying to win the championship. Dave Bing, my first year, Dave Bing, great Hall of Famer, Mr. Detroit, played with the Pistons forever, came out of retirement, trying to win a championship. Look at Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley, another guy who went to Houston, trying to win a championship. The resume that you have is always going to be, did you win a chip? How many times? The one thing Charles Barkley can never avoid from Shaquille O'Neal is what?
And Kenny.
Me and Kenny, yeah. we won rings. We got rings, man. You wouldn't know what that's about.
My favorite exchange is when Shaq got into his feelings. When Charles was just like, yeah, I would have won rings too if I played with Kobe Bryant. And this is before, Kobe passed. Man, that got him going. That got him so mad. And I think that's the nerve that he knows, look, I can always go there if you want me to. So knock it off, like that type of thing, that type of approach. But Sherrod, I'm
wait a minute, before you get to Sherrod, the other thing you look at too, did Shaq chase rings at the end? Wasn't Shaq chasing rings? Didn't he want to get? Why did he come to the Celtics?
Came to Boston.
Why did he go to Miami to play? Why did he go to Cleveland to play?
And when Kobe won his fifth. When Kobe won his fifth, Shaq said he lost it. He pretty much threw stuff. He threw a temper tantrum. He was so upset that he got that fifth one because he was trying to compete. He was trying to catch up. He was trying to stay on top. And Kobe went ahead and got the fifth one. But Sherrod, we're talking about the situation with the Warriors and Draymond and all that, drama that hasn't ended between him and Poole and the family getting involved. What's your take on this? I mean, Max hates the fact that his father stepped in there and said what he said on Twitter. And that he's upset with Draymond that he never issued an apology for what he did to his son.
Listen, when you start getting moms and dads into the conversation, there's nothing good that's ever going to come about.
For real.
Nothing ever is going to come good with that. And to me, the whole situation is effed up. I mean, and Max, I mean, you came from a generation where it wasn't that unusual for players to get into it in the locker room or anything like that. But what happened to Jordan Poole was a cheap shot in every sense of the word. I don't care how much you want to break that down. What he did to Jordan Poole was a cheap shot because Jordan Poole, you typically know when you got to scrap up. And Draymond.
Square up. Right.
Yeah, he wasn't even close to being square up. And you saw how quickly he dropped like a sack of potatoes after he got cracked. There is no way, and Max, you know I'm going with this, that would have been the end of it. At some point, we would have scrapped. We would have absolutely fought. Soon as I came to my feet, soon as the smell of salt kicked in, even if he whips my ass, you are not going to make me feel punked because you cheap shotted me. Guess what? I'm gonna cheap shot you at some point. You gonna walk out of the shower in your towel. Hey Draymond, hey, what's up? Now we even. We squashed it, and you know what? That would have made them so much closer, in my opinion. If Jordan would have had a chance to cheat shot him, because then it's just like Draymond would know how Jordan felt. Right. Jordan didn't see that coming, and if Draymond was coming out the shower and Jordan popped him in the jaw, he wouldn't see that coming. We good. We even.
And we wouldn't see it either. We wouldn't see that video.
But we're failing to look at this, gentlemen. This just didn't happen because this wasn't a one-off. Right. This is something that had been building. Jordan
That's
Poole,
what Draymond was saying. Yeah.
You look at Jordan Poole and his body language sometimes, the way he gets cocky and arrogant out there on the floor. And I'm sure that happened in practice. You know, I'm going to make this money. You ain't going to make this money, that. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, young boy, I'm going to give you a lesson in life right now about who to talk to and who not to talk to. So I don't see that as a one-off. And so far as apologizing to the family, but, you know, families always get involved. You know, when you think about that, Anna Horford.
That's a good point. Yeah.
About things that happen, and you look at it, people going, what did such and such say? Or what that happens. It happens in the game. And we've seen it more times than not, but I agree with Sherrod in the fact that as a player, those things happen, but you did want to get an opportunity to get back. And he never did. And now he's with another team and people still, you know, he got his bag, but I'm sure that will always follow him in the NBA about watch out for Draymond. So that will follow him.
You know, Draymond must have really had time this specific day because not only did he get on Twitter about that, but he quote tweeted a fake quote from from Kevin Garnett. And in the quote, it said that pretty much said a joke about how the way he punched Poole would be like a senior, you know, strutting about knocking out a freshman who's half his size. So Draymond responded to the fake quote from KG saying, man, when I was a rookie and you were still in the league, you know, you used to do whatever, this, that, and I wasn't afraid to stand up to you. You know, I would have been ready to knock you out. So what would that have been like if that happened? KG responds hours later saying, man, this is why Elon got Twitter all effed up. because players don't know what's real anymore. They don't know what's a legitimate news outlet and what someone just, you know, putting out fake quotes and pretending to be a blue check mark on Twitter.
Yeah. Man, KG just trying to live his best life, man. And you trying to bring him into this nonsense. KG ain't that dude. KG had a career that, again, is clear. There's just certain dudes you just let them be. I mean, Max, that old saying, let big dogs just lie, because sometimes I think people forget that when you're an old dog, they forget that old dogs bite too, and old dogs bite harder, they bite longer, and they are way more savvy about that than you are. Like, you just think it's a simple bite. Nah, right. OGs, no, it's a different game. We play a different game. Well,
I think that in Draymond's case, Draymond has He's living his best life. And then when I got into the argument with me, or he got into the
argument.
Right,
John, something. That's right.
I was like, and your guy, Josue, had camera in hand, dog.
Reporting, doing his reporting job.
I'm standing there talking to Gary Payton.
Got the scoop.
And Draymond.
Sherrod, E40 pulled up. It was wild.
Draymond just comes and gets in the middle of our conversation.
Which is rude and might get your head knocked off, but that's another story.
He tells Gary Payton, what you doing talking to him, man? You don't need to be talking to him, man. He be talking about me. So I said, Draymond, you got something to say to me? He said, I ain't got nothing to say to you. I said, that's when I turned away and I said, you know what? It's time for me to get the hell out. And then as soon as I left, he leaves right behind me, coming behind me. And then he and I talked in the hallway, and I said, dude, he asked me, he said, so you said that somebody would, how did he say that? He said, you said that somebody would knock me out. That ain't what I said. He said, well, you got to be a man about what you said. That ain't what I said. I said, somebody would you up. That's what my mind out. I said, you know what?
Right.
I'm not going to go any further. And he and I shook hands. We moved on. One day I hope to sit down and talk to Draymond because he happens to be the kind of player that I love when he's on your team because I love the bully in him. The reason the Celtics did not win that championship when they played Golden State was game 3. It was game 3 or game 4? Game 4.
Game 4.
The Celtics had the lead, and Draymond went into his theatrics against Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown was never the same again. And he said that later on. He said, I knew I had Draymond. I knew I had him when he said, hey, he's trying to pull my pants down. And he did. He did. So he psychologically, I love when you have guys like that who play. And so I'm not a hater. The people, I want to make sure people understand that. I'm not a hater on that dude. In fact, I appreciate where he went. I just hate the fact that the team that I'm covering and the time that I played in the league, what would happen to you if you did some shit like that? That's all I'm saying.
Right. And that was a conversation between you and Gary Payton, obviously 2 guys that played in different eras, so I just thought it was, well, good thing I was there, it's a good thing I was there on top of everything, got the scoop. Come on, Sherrod, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, when stuff pops off, you got to be ready to ask the right questions.
Man, listen, that's what you tell yourself. Josue, you were just being nosy, man. That's all that was. That's all that was. Let's just keep it. Come on, Sherrod. Josue was just being nosy. This is, hey, Max, real talk. He wanted to make sure that if something popped off, he was going to have that.
He did.
Ready to go. Because he's just thinking like, somebody swing, because I'm ready.
CLNS Media had the exclusive.
He had it, and he got it done the right. And
but hold on a second, Sherrod.
Wait a minute, and I'm gonna tell you this part.
Don't make it sound like I'm sitting there like, are you gonna take that? You heard what he said, Draymond? I didn't. It was nothing like that.
You was thinking it though.
Even to the point where he was sitting there, and I'm talking to a guy I don't even know, a rapper, E40. I'm like, who the hell is E40? Is his name E40? I'm like,
when you called him EB40, I lost it, man.
I didn't know who that dude was, but Josue standing right there with me. Hey, Sherrod, I've never heard a black man go to another black man, and I was introduced to him. I said, "Nice meeting you," and the dude looked at me and he said, "Ping pong." I was like, what? I know I'm older, but I've never heard anybody say that to another man.
That's got to be some Bay thing, man. Something out in the Bay, man. They're a little different out there. Their slang is different.
Ping pong. So now I'm on that. If I meet somebody new now, that's why I say to them, "Yo, man, how you doing, man? Ping pong, nigga. Ping pong, ping pong." That's what I'm going.
Oh man. Okay. Listen. One last thing. Gabe Vincent. I know this is kind of like last week's news, but I forgot to bring this up, and I want to hear what you think about this, Sherrod, too. Gabe Vincent went on a podcast, JJ Redick's podcast, and he says that he sensed that there was some sort of turmoil in Game 7. The Celtics weren't themselves in Game 7, and the Miami Heat were able to capitalize on that.
You know why Sherrod, they weren't themselves?
What's your take?
Because Jason Tatum just took him.
Thank you. End of conversation. We're done. Right.
I tell you what, let Jimmy Butler twist his ankle badly.
Right.
Then what? Tatum's gonna be. You know what? The Heat were different. They just weren't themselves in that Game 7.
I don't know what it was, but
listen, Gabe Vincent. I'm glad that Gabe Vincent got his bag.
yeah, shout out to Gabe Vincent. He earned
Vincent
it
for getting his bag.
Yeah.
But that's just nonsense. You know why that Game 7 was different? Because the best damn player on the team hurt his ankle
in the first minute. First minute of the damn game. Yeah.
And it was so sad because I walked in after the game. I walked in the Celtics locker room, and I guess all the press had kind of left, and Jason Tatum was sitting there with his ankle, buried into a bucket of ice, and I just walked up. I'm so sorry to see what happened, man, because that was a dream scenario for the NBA, and the fact that it was the first team that was ever going to come back, I think, and win. Being down 3-1 and come back and win in that situation.
3-0, yeah.
And the thing that makes me, and Sherrod, we haven't had you. I gotta ask you before we get out of here about the whole Marcus Smart thing, because Marcus Smart was your guy, and he gave the one finger salute to you on air one time, which
him and I we talked about it that night,
which had me laugh like hell. But it was
on air.
But to see Marcus leave, and it's really, I've heard different people tell me this, that he was at, I think, over in Roxbury. Where did they play ball?
Oh no, it was well, initially it should have been around that in that area, but it was in Stoughton. It was the Dana Barrows Center, the 14 league, young game changer.
Somebody told me they saw him over in the Barry. He was over in the Barry, and where did they play at? It was Molina Cass, or what? One of the places they played at. But they said Marcus was there. They said Brown, the kid that was from Boston, he was there.
Yeah, Bruce Brown.
Oh, Bruce Brown. Oh, okay. You're talking about something else then. I thought you were talking about when he spoke about the trade.
No, they were. Marcus was there. He was there. And he said he had on a Grizzly uniform while he was there. Now, his hair was still green, but I just really feel that this is the one guy, I think, and when I think about trades, that was probably so hurt to leave Boston, man. It almost breaks my heart. And I know it's a business. I've been around long enough to understand the business of it. But, man, if there was a guy who bled green, who wanted to be with your team, it was Marcus Smart, and I want to get your feel for what you think about that.
This was hard one for me because I think we did a show like the next day, and I didn't go on because I was still just trying to process what the hell happened. And to me, there's a lot of things I first and foremost, I understand the business side of it, and I would be lying if I said I would have done things differently. Because from a business standpoint, it made sense. It made sense. You have guys in that perimeter wing dynamic section of your roster, and you needed another stretch big because Al is not getting any younger. Rob is not getting any better from perimeter shooting. And you get basically a guy like Porzingis, and you got some other assets by moving Marcus. So I get that. But at the same time, there's intangibles that he brought to your roster that you're not going to be able to replace. And the thing that, and Max, we have seen enough NBA basketball to know that you ain't winning a championship if you ain't got some dogs. And I'm talking plural, not singular. You just traded away your lead.
That's so true.
And you got,
I think he's just froze up, but you gotta have dogs. Yeah,
you gotta have dogs, and you don't have the next dog in training with Grant Williams. He's gone.
So now, I think he's freezing up on us now.
No, I got
you're freezing up on us. So
I got him. I think it's
what we gonna do here, Joseph.
I'm still good.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, I got him. Up? Yeah, you're freezing up, man. A little bit. Now you're back. Now you're back.
That was you, Iceman.
Now you're back.
That was you.
Nah, this is Watson over here. That was you freezing up, Iceman.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I was like, Sherrod's spitting right now. What you mean? Keep going. He's cooking.
Speaking of Iceman, have you seen George Gervin?
Not recently, no.
Ooh, no longer Iceman, Iceberg.
Oh man.
George Gervin is over 300 pounds.
So he went from being George Gervin to like Mel Turpin. Is that what you saying?
Yeah. Dinner Bell Mel. And he's my man. I'm like, I was just shocked, but yeah, I was.
So Max, so instead of finger rolls, we got cinnamon rolls. Is that what we saying?
Ooh. And I did happen to talk to. I talked to Sean Elliott about that, and Sean Elliott was cracking up, because Iceman was an all-time Spur. But I was just trying to get that last portion. I didn't get the chance to hear that last portion. What you were saying about Marcus, I really want to hear that though.
No, the thing about Marcus is you just traded away your lead dog in a league where you can't win a championship if you don't got multiple dogs, and your dogs don't have to be your best players. In fact, more times than not, they're not your best player. Jokic was the best player in that Denver squad. Bruce Brown, dog. Aaron Gordon played like a dog. You got to have guys in that mold who understand their roles and have a feistiness about it. Gary Washburn, who one of my co-hosts on A-List podcast, he always gets on me because of my Detroit Pistons connections. And I said, you know why that team was so special to me? Because I've never been around a team that had as many dogs as they did. You had Lindsey Hunter, you had Mike James, you had Chauncey Billups, you had Ben Wallace, you had Rasheed Wallace, you had Corliss Williamson. I just gave you 6 without even, and I didn't even talk about Darvin Ham.
So let me ask you this then. So give me a dog list with the Celtics right now.
I can't. I'm not even going to try to.
Give me a poodle. Give me a poodle. Give me something.
I give you Jaylen Brown. Jaylen. I think Jaylen can develop into a dog. I think Jaylen will be more of a dog now that Marcus is gone. I think he could be that guy, especially.
He has to be.
Yeah. But Tatum is just going to be Tatum. Tatum is a phenomenal player. He's more finesse than force. He's always going to be that way. And that's okay. Yeah. That's okay because your best player can be that way. But your best player better have some dogs around him. Because Jokic is not, I don't think Jokic is a dog per se. He's got a lot of dog in him.
Wait a minute. Jokic can be a dog. You remember
when he wants to be?
Remember when he got
catch him on a bad day
by one of the twins? And he came and just shoved him with a fork.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. It's just like Jaylen. It was one of the games. Was it Miami? Who was it when Jaylen got somebody on the bench, grabbed his leg?
Yeah,
Miami.
Philadelphia. That was
Philadelphia.
And he turned
George Niang.
He turned around and he went back at the bench. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that from him. If he gives me that and I can add a piece, just, give me somebody who's a little bit meaner. But I can't think of anybody who's mean on that roster. That's the only thing that bothers me.
It does. I just don't know if you can win a championship if you don't got legitimate, bona fide, 5-star grade A dogs on your team. And I think you got to have more than one.
You know what? Because you can look at let's go back and look at the NBA in the last 3 or 4 years and think about the teams who have won. And they've always had Draymond Green. They've had, as you just said, you talked
Bruce
about
Brown, PJ Tucker in Milwaukee.
Tucker. You look at those pieces that are there.
No, you look at the Celtics championship in 08, you had Posey.
Oh, you had Posey, you had
Posey, Perk, Garnett.
You had Perk, you could go down the line. Paul Pierce at times was a dog himself. So I don't think you look. So I'm just thinking this is going to be, and I know it's a new era, but that is going to have to happen. We're going to have to see one time, and I love him to death. He's one of my favorite players when I think about Jason Tatum. But he's going to have to turn around one day and defend himself against somebody. And you watch what the troops do. Everybody's going to come in, and they're going to pile on, and they're going to be right behind him. But he's going to have to do that because, he gets a lot of cheap shots. Things happen to him. He complains to the referees. Instead of complaining to the referees, sometimes you go to that next man who just hit you and say,
in his face.
Yeah,
in his face. Nobody's gonna let you swing on him.
You do that. Right. He knows he's gonna swing in this league. But what it's gonna show, it's gonna show your teammates that Oh, the big dog then got pissed off, and
he's mad, right?
Yeah. So yeah, man,
definitely.
I really hope that somehow that they find the guy who can have that temperament, because we saw a little bit of it from Al. I love that when he got elbowed Giannis in the mouth, and it was supposed to be by accident, but that was because of a play Giannis had done before.
Yeah. When he dunked on him and gave him one of these.
We don't see that. We don't see it.
Yeah.
We see a little. You know what? I think we see a little bit more of that from Al than anybody else on that front line, where he'll point in somebody's face and said, don't do that shit again, or Al's
their big dog. He's their biggest dog right now.
Yeah.
But your oldest player should not be your biggest dog.
He almost got into Castiglione's face when he laughed about him being an elite shooter. Remember that? So he's got some dog in him. You come at him sideways, or he even thinks you're coming at him sideways, he'll say something. He'll bark for sure. That's Al. That's Al. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Cedric Maxwell podcast, powered by good friends over at FanDuel. Bet just $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets when you head to FanDuel.com/Boston. That's FanDuel.com/Boston. He is Sherrod Blakely. Bleacher Report, check out his stuff. Podcasts under the CLNS Media umbrella, of course. 1/3 of the A-List podcast, man. Great podcast if you guys haven't checked that one out, with Gary Washburn and Kwani Lunis. Appreciate you, Sherrod. Always, man. This was fun, man. I've been laughing this whole episode.
Absolutely. Mr. got the camera taken, trying to get Cedric in
see Max, see what you did? See what you did? Right.
No, I'm gonna give it like Marcus gave it to him. And Sherrod, I want him to just shut the up, okay?
No, but that's love right there.
You know that's my dude too. You know that's my dude.
You said the whole God report, and I was like, yo, he's talking about me. That's what's up.
I love that. I love it. I love it.
All right.
That's my guy. I'm gonna miss my guy. I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss the hell out of Marcus.
No doubt.
Appreciate you keeping it 100, Sherrod. That's what we do here on the Cedric Maxwell podcast, man. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Later.